Hello students, we will be studying about immunity, the chapter immunity today. Now what is immunity? It is basically the resistance that our body shows towards any infection, towards any microorganism that it comes across, or microorganism or toxin or any foreign particle. So our body shows some resistance towards these foreign particles, so that resistance is called as immunity. Now it can be first immunity, it basically we can put them as recognition and response. That is, when any foreign particle tries to enter into the host, enter into our body, our immune system first tries to recognize whether it is self or non-self. If it is self, then the body does not, or the immune system does not hamper it. If it is recognized as non-self, then it responds. Okay, your immune system will recruit certain cells, will follow certain pathways, will recruit certain enzymes, uh, and through immune response it will now destroy the foreign particle. How to destroy, which method to follow, so that is the response. So first recognition happens, that is to understand whether it is self, should I hamper it, or whether it is non-self, should I does it belong to your body or not. If it does not, then it has to revert. So it will respond, that is your immune system will respond as to how to kill it, which pathway to follow. Is it to engulf, is it to make holes and destroy, or is it to simply throw out? So these are the different ways that it will follow. So it is basically recognition and response. Response can be of two types: effector and memory. Effector is first time any foreign particle pathogen enters into your body will recognize, then it will respond, produce antibodies or certain cells to recruit certain cells, and then will destroy. What is memory? Memory response is the antibodies are already there in your system. Probably the infection that you are getting is for the second time, the same kind of infection you've already got, and already that time the antibodies were produced and they remained in the immunology memory. So it is there in the immunological memory, and hence when the same pathogen enters into your body for the second time, already the antibodies are there, and hence your body does not take time to produce the antibody, to recognize, to produce the antibody, uh, and hence the reaction happens immediately. So that is memory. Already the antibodies are there. That is, this infection happens, this happens if there is the infection for is happening for the second time. Immunity can be classified as innate, which is non-specific, and acquired type of immunity. Innate is inborn. You are born with this kind of immunity. Basically we can call that as first line and second line defense mechanisms. And it's non-specific, which means it does not change with different kinds of pathogen, it does not change with different kinds of foreign particle. It remains the same kind of defense irrespective of whatever pathogen, whatever foreign particle tries to enter into your body. The same way it protects your body. So that's called as innate. Acquired is, and it is specific. Acquired is, you gain this kind of immunity through the different exposures that your body um, comes across various pathogens through your lifespan. And every time your body comes across a new pathogen, a new kind of immunity, you get this kind of immunity, your body will produce certain antibodies, different antibodies for different kinds of and it is specific for every different pathogen. Different type of mechanism is followed, different kind of antibody is produced. It is not the same, and hence it is not specific. Innate is specific. Irrespective of any pathogen, the kind of protection that your body gives is same. But acquired, it is specific. Only the protection is for that particular pathogen. And next time another pathogen enters, the same kind of protection is not will not work out. It has to be a different antibody or different kind of protection that your body needs to follow or your immune system needs to follow. Now this acquired immunity can be classified one in this way that I have shown here, that is natural and artificial. Natural can be active and passive, artificial can be active and passive. Now this kind of classification you can follow, or this acquired classification. Now this is the one which because I have shown both the type of classification, because different textbooks gives you different ways. We will follow this as this is easier to remember. Okay, acquired is classified into active, passive. Active is natural and artificial. Passive is again natural and artificial. So about this we will be studying in detail. Now let's study the first kind of classification, that is innate. Innate, I told you, it is from birth. You are getting this kind of immunity from birth. It is non-specific, irrespective of any kind of pathogen. The same protection your body gets against any kind of pathogen, and it is not it does not have any relation with immunization. Immunization is not the protection that you're getting like your innate immunity, well, from innate immunity. Okay, and it does not have any relation to any previous bacterial infection. So it's only whatever you are born with, so that is innate immunity. And as I told, it's first line of defense mechanism which acts against the microorganisms or pathogens. So basically innate immunity is first line and second line of defense mechanisms. Now when I talk about the innate immunity, the mechanism of innate immunity, I told you it consists of first line and second line defense mechanism. Defense mechanism means basically how your body is protected against these foreign particles. So defense means basically, yes, there has to be certain barriers, your body is getting protected. So what are these barriers? Basically they are physical barriers. Now the skin, when you consider the skin, throughout your body one layer is there, which is your skin, which is protecting or which separates your inner body fluids to the external world. The throughout your body there is blood, there is protein, there are muscles, which is inside the skin. Okay, so which is bagged inside the skin. Now skin is the one which is protecting your body. Throughout your body your skin is protecting. It acts like a barrier, it acts like a barricade. Even if the organism tries to enter into your body, the skin acts like a barricade. It acts like a door which will not allow the microorganisms to enter. Now suppose if there is a cut or a wound, then the blood oozes out, and hence it can be easy access for the microorganisms to gain entry through any cut or wound. Otherwise your skin is protecting your body. The mucus is the slimy layer that is there most of throughout your body, protecting most of your organs. It's there in the respiratory tract, upper and lower respiratory tract. It's there in the stomach, it's there in the intestine, it is there in the heart, it is there in your kidneys, most of the organs. So it is a mucus filled secretion which is there in your body. Now how is it protecting you? Definitely you're born with this. Generally any microorganism needs to cause any disease, it has to attach onto the surface, and then it has to after attachment it has to penetrate. After penetrating it has to multiply. Now because of the presence of mucus, as I told you, it is slippery, it is slimy, it becomes difficult for the microorganisms to attach onto any particular organ or any particular surface. So mucus is the one, if there is no attachment, definitely organisms will be thrown out, it will be flushed out. They cannot attach and hence they cannot multiply. The next one is the respiratory system, your respiratory tract. Yes, your respiratory tract has mucus. Apart from that, if you are dividing your respiratory tract into two parts, that's your nose, from your nose, and then your lungs, your respiratory tract from your nose till the lungs. Now when you see your nose, there is a layer of mucus. if any particle tries to enter, first of all your nose has hair in that, so because of the frequent movement of the hair, the organisms are not allowed, or they find difficulty in attachment onto the nose. Now if they cannot attach onto the nose, definitely they cannot penetrate into the lungs, and hence they cannot multiply. Not only that, as the organism tries to enter, what happens, you sneeze out, you just throw out the organ. When you sneeze out with that force, the organisms are pushed out into the environment. That's because of the presence of the hair. Now also there is a lining, mucus lining, which will not allow the organisms to enter, attach. That is the thing. As you go down, again there is the mucus layer, which is slippery, does not allow the organisms to attach. Again, if you see the respiratory system, your lungs, your lung muscles are continuously contracting and relaxing. Now because of the continuous contraction and relaxation of the muscles, there is a friction, I mean there is continuous movement of the muscles. Now because the lungs are continuously contracting and relaxing, the organisms does not get a stable base to attach. Now because of the mucus, one second, because of the continuous movement, the proper baseline they do not get, and hence they cannot attach, and hence they will be released out. So this also you are born with. Gastrointestinal system, yes, your gastrointestinal system, your stomach, first of all your, it starts with your mouth. It is told that you have to drink your food and you have to uh, eat your water. So chewing is very very important, and when you chew, there is saliva has certain enzymes which has a property to kill the pathogens, the microorganisms. Though if any organisms are there, it will be killed there. Then as the food enters, or if there are pathogens, as it enters into the stomach has high acidity because it is having HCl, acid. Now because of the high acidity, you know that organisms are pH sensitive, they require, and bacteria require neutral pH, and the pH of your stomach is 3, and hence if they reach the stomach, because of the change in pH, high acid content, the organisms are killed there. Definitely all of us are born with this. Now somehow if it crosses the stomach and reaches into the intestine, even the intestine has this something called as a bowel movement, that is contraction and relaxation of the muscles. Because of this bowel movement, there is pushing action of the unwanted waste from inside the body to outside the body. So when this pushing action happens, there is continuous contraction relaxation of your intestine. Because of this contraction relaxation, what happens is that the microorganisms again are not able to get a proper baseline to attach. They are unable to attach onto the intestine. Also, E. coli is lined, I mean your intestine is lined with E. coli. Already there are organisms present on the intestine, and hence they do not give space for any other pathogens to gain entry or to attach, and hence they cannot multiply. Second one is the next one is the genitourinary system, that is your your urinary tract. Again, because as I told you, entire urinary tract system is having mucus layer, and hence because of that the organisms cannot attach. Second, when there is flushing action of the urine, because there is flushing action of the urine, the organisms are not able to, even if they have attached onto the urinary tract, because of the flushing action, the urine is forced out. This forcing action will just throw out the organism, or pull out or bring out the organism out from your urinary tract. They are flushed out from the body. um, Also, if you see the pH of the vagina is acidic, because of the acidic pH of the vagina, again the organisms cannot survive there. That is the thing. Moving on to the eye. Now if we consider the eye is, we are continuously fluttering our eye, we are blinking the eye. Now the reason is because we want to keep the eye moist. Why do we need to keep the eye moist? Because of the presence of, because it has, it produces some secretions, that is the lacrimal secretions. These secretions, these lacrimal secretions, they are called as tears, and it has an enzyme, lysozyme, which will protect, or which has the capability to lyse the bacterial cells, to lyse the cells. Now because of this lysozyme enzymes, the infection or the microorganisms are lysed and they are killed. That is the reason when any time any pathogen enters into the eye, we start tearing, more tears are produced, more tears, more enzymes, and hence it is. Or because of the tears, it just washes out the organism from inside the eye to, as in the form of tears, to outside. So that is about the eye. Moving on to bacteriocins. Now what are these? Now your skin is one protective layer. Throughout your skin there are microorganisms present. Microorganisms should be present, okay, and they are not pathogens, they are called as the normal flora. Throughout your body there is one kind of organism that's present, which is called as Staphylococcus epidermidis, which is present on the epidermal layer of your skin, and it should be present throughout. Now because of the presence of this organism, already this organism is lined, and hence there is no space for any pathogen to access your skin. That's one thing, and hence they cannot attach. Next, these organisms, they release out certain metabolites that could be antagonistic to the pathogens. These metabolites could be toxic to the other organisms, so they basically show antagonistic effect. So these secretions or these metabolites that is released by the organisms that's present on your skin, which are harmful for the pathogens, they are called as bacteriocins. So these are the physical barriers. These are the first line defense mechanism of the innate immunity. So if they are asking about innate immunity, you have to talk about these things. What do you mean by first line and second line defense mechanism, which I've always told? Now suppose if we are talking about defense, now basically I'm talking about protection, isn't it? So if we are comparing this protection to our borders, even our India is protected, or we are who is protecting the borders? That's basically the soldiers, isn't it? Now simply the soldiers are not there, they have barricades that is separating the borders. Now these barricades are called as the primary or first line defense mechanism. So whatever we had studied, all these are the barriers or barricades or the primary or first line defense mechanism. What do you call the second line defense mechanism? Second line defense mechanism, if you are comparing that to the thing, that is your soldiers are the second line defense mechanism. Now here if we are considering for immunology, the, you can say, the cells are already there in your body. Now which cell has to get activated, that's not important. Now cells are already there in your body, you're born with this. So those cells are called as the second line defense mechanism. Okay, first line is all the barricades, the second line is all the cells that is there, which is involved or which is a part of your immune system. The third line is these cells finally will give rise to something else, or the enzymes, or will activate certain other cells, or will give rise to give birth to other cells, tissues, and hence those will now follow a particular mechanism to kill that. So that mechanism, that pathway, those enzymes, that is called as a third line defense mechanism. Okay, so that is your three lines of defense mechanism. Innate immunity types, there are three types: species, racial, and individual immunity. Now what do you mean by species immunity? Species immunity means every particular species is, every species have a specific kind of immunity. If a pathogen can infect one particular species, say the organisms which can infect plants, definitely they cannot infect human beings, so that is species specific. The organisms which can infect animals cannot infect human beings. So that's called as species specific. It is specific to that particular genus or species. It is not affecting all the organisms, all the species, uh, and hence they are called as species specific. Now there could be something called as host range, wherein one particular organism can cause infection to more than one species. That is host range, that is a little different one. Racial immunity, one particular race of people could be immune to particular kind of diseases. Like for example, Africans do not get malaria. Africans are immune to malaria. So that particular race of human beings do not get malaria. Individual immunity, again, every individual have their own immune mechanism. They do not they do not uh, they do not show the same kind of immunity. Every individual do not show the same kind of immunity. The immunity that I have may not be the same that you also have. So that is about your individual immunity. Moving on to acquired immunity, as I told, this we get it through our exposure, through when our body is exposed to various kind of infections, various kind of pathogens, uh, antigens. Our body, our body reacts to that. That's called as acquired immunity. Acquired immunity can be classified into active immunity and passive immunity. Active again is classified into natural, artificial. Passive is again natural and artificial. What is active immunity? Active immunity here is wherein your immune system is active. Your immune system is doing some activity there. Now, natural active immunity is wherein unknowingly a pathogen enters into you do not know, but a pathogen enters into your body. That's naturally it is entering. You are not doing anything. You are not forcing any organism to enter. You are not stopping any organism not to enter. So that's called as natural immunity. Example, infections, any infection that you are getting. Sorry. Artificial active immunity is I am taking in the pathogen deliberately, but in the killed form or in the inactive form. Now, in the form of vaccine. That's called as artificial active immunity. Now, why am I doing this? Because I am taking in the organism, but in the killed form, inactive form. For my body, it is still a foreign particle. My body does not think whether, okay, it is dead or it is inactive. No, still my body thinks it is a foreign particle and antibodies are produced against it. So my body will start producing antibodies, and hence when the real pathogen enters, my body is already trained to, my body is ready to destroy the foreign particle. So that is why immune vaccination is taken. So artificial active immunity is I am taking in the pathogen, knowing I am taking in the pathogen uh, in the inactive form. Example, any vaccine. Moving on to passive immunity. Passive immunity, again, natural passive and artificial passive. Now, what do you mean by natural passive? Again, passive means your body is unable to do any action, and hence to react, or immune system is nullified. Your immune system is not doing any activity. No work is done by your immune system. Somebody else is doing the work and giving it to you. So what happens here is natural and passive. Natural, infants, if you see, the children are unable to the children do not have a proper immune system, a proper enough of energy to react against, or do not have enough energy to produce antibodies of their own, and hence the mother produces the antibodies and transfers the antibodies from the mother to the child in the fetus or while feeding. So this is how the mother will pass on the antibody. Mother produces the antibodies and it is being passed through to the child. Child immune system is not producing antibodies. Child immune system is unable to produce antibodies. Artificial immunity is the person is so weak that the person is unable to produce antibodies. He is an adult, the person is weak, and hence what happens is the antigens are injected into someone else. Generally it is an animal, so into horse it is injected. Horse will produce antibodies against that particular antigens. Now this serum is taken and that serum is injected, which contains antibodies, and that is given to the individual, to the person who is sick, I mean to person who is unable to produce the antibodies. So here the host immune system is not active at all, okay, and hence somebody else is producing the antibodies and giving. In natural passive, somebody else is producing the antibodies, and without knowing, unknowingly it is given. Its mother is producing unknowingly, and it is given to the child. Artificial is knowingly the antigens are injected into animal and then it is given to the person. So immunity basically, you can call that as natural infection, naturally it comes, or in the form of vaccination we will take. Thank you, students.